Today we're going to look at another add-on card for the RC2014 Z80 Retro computer. This time it's the USB Storage Module, allowing you to read and write to a USB memory stick. So let's open up this package and see what we have to work with. Adding the ability to access a USB drive does give you an easy way to add storage to the computer. USB drives are certainly easy to obtain and haven't increased in price unlike many other storage medias. So here we have the board, with a little cutout to accommodate the USB socket. And we have an edge connector, two sockets for chips, the chips themselves, three capacitors, one green LED, and a single resistor and jumper. The USB daughter module comes fully built in this separate packet. So there are not a lot of components on this board, but as always, take your time, check your solder joints as you go, and keep your fingers away from the molten metal. As always, we will start with the lowest profile components first, in this case the resistors and capacitors, soldering them into place and clamping them in a stand to hold the circuit board firmly while we work. With fiddly components, I tend to use elastic bands to hold them steady until I have a few solder joints completed. It's a low-tech solution, but as it works, there's no need to overcomplicate it. There is a little set of jumper pins on the board to allow you to set either channel 0 or channel 1, which means that you can, if you so wish, have two of these boards in your system and access to two USB sticks at the one time. Today I'm only planning on a single USB card in this system, so I'll have the link in channel 0. Next we will put in the sockets. Remember to check your soldering as you go, as it's so easy to miss a solder joint or inadvertently solder two close pins together. The edge connector has the largest number of pins of any component, so be careful that it is positioned correctly to avoid your card leaning at an angle when plugged into the backplane. Next, we need to mount the USB module itself into the board. There are two sets of pins to line up. In my delivery, the USB module had a removable link installed, which I needed to remove to get the daughter board to fit. The USB board needs a little care to ensure it's not at an angle. Once you're happy with the fit, you can then solder the pins to secure the daughter board. Our last assembly task is fitting the two integrated circuits. One is larger than the other, which makes identification easy. As always, you have to bend the pins on these circuits slightly to get them to fit into the sockets, and take care that you don't bend the legs of one or either of the chips. So placing the jumper in channel 0, we are now ready for the moment of truth. Will it actually work? Before we plug it in, let's take a look at the RC2014 computer that we're going to be using. At the front is a classic 2 CPU card. This computer and all the cards are using the standard bus. Behind this is the ROM and RAM card, 512K of each. Behind that is the single UART serial module taking power from the FTDI cable. And at the very back is a classic 2 clock and reset module. So as I know this collection of cards works as a system, let's now plug in the new card. Right at the back of the backplane, just in front of our clock reset card. Now to attach the FTDI cable and power it up. First, we're going to power up and connect via TerraTerm without a USB stick attached, to ensure that there is no adverse effect on the system. And here we are in TerraTerm, setting the serial port configuration. Now we have that, let's press the reset button and see what comes up. Well, it appears to boot up correctly. And there's nothing untoward showing on screen, and it's showing at the very bottom of the units, disk 5, as ch USB 0. That's where we'll expect our capacity of the USB stick to appear. Plugging in the USB stick and clicking reset once more. And it is actually showing a capacity in disk 5. We're showing almost 30 gigabytes. As it's a 32 gigabyte drive, that's perfectly correct. So the card is being recognised and the USB drive in the card is also being recognised correctly. So I think we have success. So now what we need to do is to make this drive accessible. So if we go in, we can see on our list of drives, it's going right up to the J drive. So we need to do a little configuration in here to allow ROM WBW to access these new volumes. Looking at the documentation, there is a ROM WBW image on the latest build called HD512 Combo Image. This we can use. We downloaded the latest build of ROM WBW in our last video. So first, a quick download of Win32 Disk Imager to prepare our USB stick for use. And here we are running. Let's just point towards our disk image. And that's it connected. It's already identified the L drive as our USB stick. We can click write, which will of course overwrite any data on the USB drive. And there it is formatting, which formats very quickly, and that's now successful. So we can now take the USB drive out of our main computer and plug it back into the Z80 machine. So a reset again, and once more back into the boot up sequence to see what we can access. If we enter into CPM, and there are all our volumes, we go into the C drive, and we now see files on the C drive. So our boot image is successfully burnt on to that USB drive. So do we have a D drive? And yes we do, and it also has files. And an E drive? Yes, there is something on E drive as well, perhaps an F drive. And more files on the F drive. So we have a well-populated USB drive. But can we boot from it? According to the documentation, we can, taking note of the disk number, which in our case is Unit 5. So entering 5:1 at the boot prompt does get us in quite happily to ZS-DOS 1.1. So let's have a look to see what volumes we can actually access. If we do a start, we'll get the A drive as normal. Go to our B drive. We can see nothing there, which is our RAM disk. Go to our C drive, and there are our CPM files. So let's try the D drive, and there's our D drive. And lots of interesting things there, including BBC Basic. So let's try BBC Basic. And there we are, we're now into BBC Basic. Took me a moment there to work out how to actually get out of BBC Basic and back to CPM. So there is a large number of files available to you in this particular image. And it could take you quite some time to work your way through them all. However, the possibilities of what you can do with your RC2014 system have now become much larger due to this new USB image, which you can boot directly into. However, we'll leave that exploration for a later video. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching today's video. Please feel free to click on the link in the description below to discover more videos.